There is a quiet truth that most people never realize until it's too late. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much you keep, how wisely you use it, and how simply you live. Two people can earn the same income. One always struggles, stressed, and worried. The other feels calm, secure, and in control. The difference is not luck. The difference is mindset and habits. Today, you are going to learn a simple but powerful philosophy, minimalist money rules. These rules are not complicated. They don't require a high income. They don't demand extreme sacrifice. Instead, they help you build a life where money stays with you, where you feel stable, and where financial stress slowly disappears. If you follow these rules consistently, you will not just earn money, you will always have money. The first rule is simple, but it changes everything. Rule 1. Want less, live more. Most people grow up believing a simple idea. If you have more, you will feel happier. More clothes, more gadgets, more luxury, more upgrades. This constant desire becomes a silent habit. Everywhere you look, the world tells you to want more. Social media shows you better lifestyles. Advertisements promise happiness through products. And slowly, without even realizing it, your mind starts to believe that your life is not enough. But here is the truth that most people ignore. The more you want, the more you need money, and the more pressure you create inside your life. Every new desire adds a new responsibility. A better phone needs more money. A bigger lifestyle needs more income. More spending creates more stress. And this cycle never ends. You keep running, thinking you are moving forward, but in reality you are just trying to keep up with your own growing desires. This is where minimalism changes everything. It teaches you a powerful shift. Instead of increasing your income to match your desires, reduce your desires to match your peace. When you start wanting less, something surprising happens. You feel lighter. Your life becomes simpler. You are no longer chasing every new trend or comparing yourself to others. Instead, you begin to focus on what truly matters to you. Maybe it is your health, your peace of mind, your personal growth, or your time with family. These things do not demand constant spending, but they give deep and lasting satisfaction. Think about your daily life. If your lifestyle is simple, your expenses automatically become lower. When your expenses are lower, you don't feel constant pressure to earn more, just to survive. And when that pressure disappears, your mind becomes calm. You can think clearly. You can plan your future. You can make decisions based on logic, not fear. This is the hidden power of wanting less. It gives you control over your life. But wanting less does not mean living without joy. It does not mean you should deny yourself everything or live in discomfort. It simply means you become intentional. You choose carefully. You ask yourself, does this truly add value to my life? Or is it just temporary excitement? Most of the time, you will realize that many things you once thought were important are actually unnecessary. And once you see that clearly, it becomes easier to let them go. When you stop chasing unnecessary things, you also stop wasting money on them. Saving money no longer feels like a struggle or sacrifice. It becomes natural. You are not forcing yourself to save. You are simply not spending on things that don't matter. And over time, this natural saving builds stability. You begin to notice that you always have enough. You feel secure, even without a huge income. In the end, wanting less is not about losing something. It is about gaining freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from pressure, and freedom from the endless cycle of more. When you learn to live with less, you actually experience more. More peace, more clarity, and more control over your life. And that is the beginning of true financial stability. Rule 2. Pay yourself first, no matter what. One of the most powerful habits you can build in your financial life is also one of the simplest. Pay yourself first. Before you pay your bills, before you spend on food, entertainment, or anything else, you must take a portion of your income and save it. Not later, not at the end of the month, not if something is left. But first, the moment you receive your money. This single shift may seem small, but it completely changes the way you think about money and the way money behaves in your life. Most people live in a pattern they don't even question. They earn money, then immediately start spending rent, food, shopping, small daily expenses, and whatever is left, they try to save. But the truth is, for most people, nothing is left. Expenses expand to fill income. Small purchases add up. Unexpected costs appear. And at the end of the month, saving feels impossible. Over time, this creates a cycle where you are always working, always earning, but never truly moving forward. When you decide to pay yourself first, you break this cycle. You make a clear decision that your future matters more than your temporary desires. You treat your savings like a non-negotiable expense, just like rent or electricity. This changes your mindset. Instead of asking, "Can I save this month?" you begin to say, "I will save first, no matter what." And this mindset is where real financial discipline begins. Even if you start with a small amount, it still matters. It could be 5%, 10%, or even less of your income. The size is not as important as the consistency. Because what you are really building is not just savings, you are building a habit. And habits, when repeated over time, become powerful forces. This habit tells your mind something very important. My future is valuable. My stability matters. I am someone who takes care of myself. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. You may feel like you have less money to spend. But something interesting happens over time. You adjust. Your lifestyle adapts to what remains. You become more mindful of your spending. You start to differentiate between what you truly need and what you can live without. And without realizing it, you become more in control of your financial life. As months pass, your savings begin to grow quietly. You may not notice big changes immediately, but slowly, steadily, your financial foundation becomes stronger. That small amount you saved each month turns into something meaningful. It becomes your safety, your backup, your confidence. And one day, you will look at your savings and realize something powerful. You are no longer living paycheck to paycheck. Paying yourself first is not about being rich overnight. It is about building long-term stability. It is about creating a life where you are not constantly worried about money. It is about giving yourself options, freedom, and peace of mind. And it all starts with one simple decision. Before you give money to the world, give a part of it to yourself first. Rule 3. Avoid lifestyle inflation. One of the most dangerous financial traps is also one of the most invisible. It doesn't feel like a mistake. In fact, it often feels like success. This trap is called lifestyle inflation. It happens when your income increases, and without thinking, your spending increases too. You get a raise, and suddenly you upgrade your phone. You earn more, and you move to a more expensive place. You start eating out more, buying more, spending more, simply because now you can. At first, it feels rewarding. You feel like your hard work is finally paying off. But over time, this habit quietly destroys your ability to build real financial stability. The problem with lifestyle inflation is not that you spend more. The problem is that you spend everything you earn. No matter how much your income grows, your expenses grow with it. So even though you are earning more than before, your financial situation does not improve. You are still dependent on your next paycheck. You are still under pressure. You are still unable to build meaningful savings. This is why many people with high incomes still feel financially stuck. They look successful on the outside, but inside they are still struggling to stay in control. Minimalist thinking offers a different path. It teaches you to stay grounded, even when your income grows. Instead of automatically upgrading your lifestyle, you pause. You think. You become intentional. You remind yourself that more income is not an excuse to spend more. It is an opportunity to build more security. When you earn more, your savings should increase first, not just your expenses. This does not mean you should never enjoy your money. It does not mean you should deny yourself every improvement. It simply means you become selective. You don't upgrade everything just because you can. You choose carefully what truly adds value to your life. Before making a purchase, you ask yourself a powerful question. Do I really need this? Or do I just want to feel successful? This question creates awareness. It helps you separate real needs from emotional desires. Because the truth is, many purchases are not about need. They are about image. People often spend money to feel important, to impress others, or to match a certain lifestyle they see around them. But this kind of spending is endless. There will always be something better, something newer, something more expensive. If you chase this feeling, you will never feel satisfied. You will always need more. True success is not what others see. It is not the phone you carry, the clothes you wear, or the lifestyle you display. True success is the peace you feel when you know you are financially secure. It is the confidence that comes from having savings, from being prepared, from not depending on every single paycheck to survive. When you learn to control your lifestyle while your income grows, something powerful happens. The gap between what you earn and what you spend begins to widen, and that gap is where your wealth is created. That gap becomes your savings, your investments, your freedom. It gives you options. It gives you control. It gives you a future that is not limited by your current income. In the end, avoiding lifestyle inflation is about discipline and awareness. It is about choosing long-term stability over short-term excitement. Because it's not how much you earn that matters most, it's how much you keep and how wisely you grow it. Rule 4. Track your money without fear. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with money is not because they don't earn enough, but because they don't truly know where their money goes. There is a quiet habit many people develop. They avoid looking at their expenses. They don't check their bank balance regularly. They don't track their spending. And deep inside, there is a small feeling of discomfort, even fear, because they know that if they look closely, they might not like what they see. But here is the truth. Avoiding your financial reality does not protect you. It keeps you stuck. When you ignore your money, it starts to control you. Small expenses go unnoticed. Daily spending feels harmless. But over time, these small amounts grow into something much bigger. A coffee here, a quick purchase there, a few unnecessary subscriptions. Individually, they seem small. But together, they slowly drain your financial strength. And because you are not tracking them, it feels like your money is disappearing for no reason. This creates confusion and frustration. You work hard, you earn, but somehow it never feels like enough. Minimalism teaches you something different. It teaches awareness without fear. It asks you to look at your numbers, not with stress, not with guilt, but with honesty and calmness. Tracking your money is not about judging yourself. It is about understanding yourself. It is about becoming aware of your habits, your patterns, and your choices. Because once you understand, you can improve. Start simple. Just observe. Write down what you spend each day or review your transactions regularly. Don't try to change everything immediately. Just watch. Notice where your money goes. Pay attention to patterns. You may discover things you didn't expect. You may realize that a large portion of your money is going to things that don't truly add value to your life. And this realization is powerful. Because awareness creates control. The moment you clearly see where your money is going, you gain the ability to decide where it should go instead. You move from being reactive to being intentional. Instead of wondering at the end of the month where your money went, you begin to guide it step by step. You become the one in charge. Over time, this habit changes your relationship with money. It stops feeling like a mystery. It no longer feels confusing or unpredictable. Instead, it becomes something clear, something manageable. You begin to understand how your daily decisions affect your long-term stability, and with that understanding, you start making better choices naturally. Tracking your money also removes unnecessary fear. When you don't know your financial situation, your mind often imagines the worst. You feel uncertain, even anxious. But when you face the truth, even if it is not perfect, you feel stronger. Because now you have clarity. And clarity gives you confidence. In the end, tracking your money is not about restriction. It is about freedom. It gives you the power to adjust, improve, and grow. It allows you to align your spending with your goals. And most importantly, it helps you build a life where your money is no longer controlling you, but supporting you. Rule 5. Cut the noise. Limit impulse spending. We are living in a world where spending money has become easier than ever before. Everywhere you look, there is something trying to grab your attention and convince you to buy. Advertisements follow you online, social media shows you what others are buying, and trends constantly change, making you feel like you are always missing out on something. This environment is not accidental. It is designed to make you spend without thinking. And slowly, without realizing it, you develop a habit of impulse spending. Impulse spending happens in a very simple way. You see something, you feel a sudden desire, and within moments, you decide to buy it. There is no deep thinking, no real need, just a quick emotional reaction. It feels good in the moment. There is excitement, satisfaction, even a sense of reward. But that feeling does not last long. After a short time, the excitement fades, and what remains is often regret. You may not regret every purchase, but over time, these small decisions add up. They slowly weaken your financial stability without you even noticing. Minimalist money rules teach you to step out of this automatic cycle. Instead of reacting instantly, you learn to pause. This pause is powerful because it creates space between your desire and your decision. It allows logic to enter where emotion once controlled everything. One simple technique can change everything. Before buying anything that is not essential, ask yourself, do I still want this after 48 hours? This question may seem small, but it is extremely effective. Most of the time, the answer will be no. The desire you felt in that moment was temporary. It was influenced by what you saw, what you felt, or what others were doing. But after some time passes, your mind becomes clearer. You begin to see the purchase more objectively. You ask yourself if it truly adds value to your life or if it was just a passing feeling. And often, you realize that you don't need it at all. This habit of delaying your decisions protects your money in a powerful way. It stops you from making emotional purchases that do not serve your long-term goals. Instead of constantly reacting to every temptation, you become intentional. You start to choose where your money goes, rather than letting the world decide for you. Over time, this practice trains your mind. You become less influenced by advertisements, trends, and social pressure. You begin to see through the noise. You understand that not everything you want is something you need. And more importantly, you start focusing on value instead of emotion. You spend on things that truly matter, things that improve your life in a meaningful way, rather than things that only provide temporary pleasure. This does not mean you will never enjoy spending money. It simply means your spending becomes smarter and more aligned with your goals. You experience less regret, less waste, and more satisfaction from the things you choose to buy. In the end, limiting impulse spending is about gaining control over your decisions. It is about breaking free from a system that constantly pushes you to spend. When you learn to pause, to think, and to choose carefully, you protect not only your money, but also your peace of mind. Rule 6. Build an emergency fund, your safety net. Life does not always follow a plan. No matter how carefully you organize your finances, unexpected problems can appear at any time. A sudden medical issue, the loss of a job, urgent home repairs, or an unexpected family responsibility. These situations don't wait for the right time. And when they come, they often bring stress, fear, and pressure, especially if you are not financially prepared. This is why building an emergency fund is not just a good idea, it is essential for your stability and peace of mind. Without savings, even a small problem can feel overwhelming. You may be forced to borrow money, take on debt, or make rushed decisions just to survive the situation. This creates a cycle where one problem leads to another. Stress increases, confidence decreases, and you begin to feel like you are always one step away from financial trouble. But when you have an emergency fund, everything changes. The situation may still be difficult, but your response becomes calm, controlled, and thoughtful. An emergency fund acts like a safety net. It does not remove life's problems, but it protects you from falling too hard when problems arise. It gives you breathing space. It gives you time to think, to plan, and to act wisely instead of reacting with panic. When you know you have money set aside for emergencies, your mind becomes more relaxed. You no longer live in constant fear of what if. Instead, you feel prepared for whatever comes your way. The idea of building an emergency fund may seem difficult at first, especially if your income is limited. But the key is to start small and stay consistent. You don't need to build a large fund overnight. Even saving a small amount regularly can make a big difference over time. What matters most is the habit of setting money aside specifically for emergencies. This habit builds discipline and slowly strengthens your financial foundation. As you continue saving, your goal should be to build a fund that can cover at least 3 to 6 months of your basic living expenses. This includes essential costs like food, housing, utilities, and other necessary needs. This amount provides a strong cushion. It gives you enough time to recover from unexpected situations without falling into financial stress. It is also important to understand the purpose of this fund. This is not money for shopping, vacations, or luxury spending. It is not a backup for impulse purchases or temporary desires. This money is reserved only for real emergencies, situations that truly require immediate attention and cannot be avoided. By keeping this boundary clear, you protect the strength of your emergency fund. Over time, something powerful begins to happen. Knowing that you have this safety net changes your mindset completely. You feel more secure in your daily life. You feel more confident in your decisions. You are less anxious about the future. This sense of security allows you to focus on growth instead of fear. In the end, an emergency fund is more than just money saved. It is peace of mind. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what happens, you are prepared. And that feeling of being ready, being stable, and being in control is one of the greatest forms of financial strength you can build. Rule 7. Choose value over price. Many people believe they are being smart with money when they always choose the cheapest option. It feels logical: spend less now, save more money. But this way of thinking can sometimes lead to the opposite result. Cheap is not always better. In fact, focusing only on price can cost you more in the long run. Minimalist money rules teach you a different approach. Instead of asking, "What is the cheapest option?" you begin to ask, "What gives me the most value?" Value is not just about the price you pay today. It is about what you receive over time. A cheap product may look like a good deal in the moment, but if it breaks quickly or does not perform well, you may need to replace it again and again. Each replacement costs money, time, and energy. Slowly, those small costs add up. In the end, you may spend more than you would have if you had chosen a higher quality option from the beginning. On the other hand, a product that costs more up front but lasts longer and works better can actually save you money over time. It reduces the need for frequent replacements. It gives you reliability. It provides peace of mind. This is the difference between spending and investing. When you focus on value, you are not just spending money. You are making a decision that supports your long-term stability. This idea is not limited to physical products. It also applies to how you use your time and energy. Many people spend hours trying to save a small amount of money while ignoring bigger opportunities that could improve their life. For example, chasing tiny discounts or constantly choosing the cheapest option may take up your time and mental energy, but it may not create meaningful progress. Meanwhile, investing your time in learning new skills, improving your work, or building better habits can bring much greater rewards in the future. Minimalist thinking encourages you to see the bigger picture. It reminds you that your time and energy are just as valuable as your money. When you waste them on things that do not truly matter, you lose more than just a few coins. You lose opportunities for growth. This is why it is important to make decisions that balance cost with value, not just cost alone. Spending wisely does not mean always spending less. It means spending with purpose. It means understanding what truly improves your life and what does not. Sometimes, paying a little more for quality, durability, or usefulness is the smarter choice. It leads to fewer regrets, fewer replacements, and a more stable financial life. Thinking long-term is the key. Instead of focusing only on what you pay today, think about what that decision will mean in the future. Will it last? Will it serve you well? Will it reduce future costs? These questions help you move from short-term thinking to long-term wisdom. In the end, choosing value over price is about being intentional. It is about understanding that true savings come from smart decisions, not just low prices. When you learn to think this way, your money starts working for you in a more powerful and meaningful way. Rule 8. Eliminate unnecessary debt. Debt can sometimes be useful, but in most everyday situations, it quietly turns into a trap. At first, it feels helpful. Credit cards make buying easy. Loans make expensive things feel affordable. You don't have to wait. You can have what you want now and pay later. But this pay later mindset often creates long-term pressure. What feels like convenience in the present slowly becomes a burden in the future. And before you realize it, a part of your income is no longer yours. It belongs to your past decisions. Unnecessary debt usually comes from one simple habit: buying things you cannot truly afford. It may be a new phone, expensive clothes, upgrades you don't really need, or lifestyle choices driven by comparison. In the moment, these decisions feel justified. You tell yourself it's a small payment, manageable, or something you deserve. But over time, these small debts begin to stack up. One payment becomes many. Interest adds extra weight. And suddenly, you are not just earning to live, you are earning to repay. This creates stress. It limits your freedom. It reduces your ability to make choices. When a portion of your income is already committed to debt, you have less flexibility. You cannot save as much. You cannot invest in your future. You cannot easily handle emergencies. You become tied to a cycle where your past spending controls your present life. Minimalist money rules encourage a different way of thinking. They remind you to live within your means. This means you spend based on what you actually have, not on what you can borrow. It requires patience and honesty. Before making a purchase, you pause and ask yourself a simple but powerful question. If I cannot buy this without borrowing, do I really need it? Most of the time, the answer will reveal the truth. Many things feel important in the moment, but they are not essential to your life. Choosing not to take on unnecessary debt is not about limiting yourself. It is about protecting yourself. It is about building a life where your money works for you, not against you. When you avoid debt, you keep your future open. You keep your options available. You are not forced into decisions just to keep up with payments. There is also a deeper kind of freedom that comes with this mindset. Freedom is often misunderstood as the ability to buy anything you want. But true freedom is the ability to live without financial pressure. It is the ability to make decisions based on what is right for you, not what your debts demand. It is the peace of knowing that your income is yours to use, save, and grow, not something already promised away. As you reduce and eliminate unnecessary debt, you begin to feel this freedom more clearly. Your financial life becomes simpler. Your stress decreases. Your confidence grows. You start to feel in control again. In the end, eliminating unnecessary debt is not just a financial decision. It is a life decision. It is a choice to value long-term stability over short-term satisfaction. Because the less you owe, the more you truly own your money, your time, and your future. Rule 9. Create simple, clear financial goals. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with money is not because they lack income, but because they lack direction. When there is no clear goal, money tends to disappear without purpose. You earn, you spend, and at the end of the month, you are left wondering where it all went. There is no clear progress, no sense of movement, just a repeating cycle. This is what happens when money has no direction. It flows away without building anything meaningful. That is why creating simple, clear financial goals is so important. You don't need complicated plans or perfect strategies. In fact, the simpler your goals are, the more powerful they become. A clear goal gives your money a purpose. It tells you where you are going and why you are making certain decisions. Without this clarity, every choice becomes random. But with a goal, every action becomes intentional. Your goals can be very simple. It could be saving a specific amount of money, building an emergency fund, paying off your debts, or starting to invest for your future. The key is not to make them too complex. If your goals are too big or too confusing, you may feel overwhelmed and lose motivation. But when your goals are clear and realistic, they become easier to follow. You can track your progress, stay consistent, and feel encouraged as you move forward. When you have a clear financial goal, something powerful happens to your mindset. Your focus improves. You stop spending money on things that don't truly matter. It becomes easier to say no to unnecessary purchases because you understand what you are working toward. Every time you choose not to waste money, you are not just saving, you are moving closer to your goal. This creates a sense of purpose in your daily decisions. Goals also simplify your life. Instead of feeling confused about what to do with your money, you have a clear direction. When you face a financial decision, you can ask yourself, does this help me move closer to my goal, or does it take me further away? This question alone can guide many of your choices. It removes uncertainty and replaces it with clarity. Another important benefit of having goals is motivation. When you can see progress, even small progress, it builds confidence. You feel encouraged to continue. Each step forward, no matter how small, becomes meaningful because it is connected to something bigger. Over time, these small steps create real change. What once felt difficult becomes a habit, and what once seemed far away starts to feel possible. It is also important to remember that your goals can change as your life changes. What matters today may not be the same in the future. That is okay. The purpose of goals is not to limit you, but to guide you. You can adjust them, improve them, and grow with them. In the end, creating simple, clear financial goals is about giving your money a mission. It is about turning random actions into focused progress. When you know what you are working toward, your decisions become easier, your habits become stronger, and your financial life becomes more stable. And step by step, you move closer to a life where your money supports your future instead of disappearing without purpose. Rule 10. Make consistency your superpower. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to save a huge amount every month. You don't need to follow every rule flawlessly or have everything figured out from the beginning. What you truly need is consistency. Consistency is the quiet force that transforms small actions into powerful results. It is not about doing something big once. It is about doing something small, again and again, without giving up. When you save a little money regularly, when you spend wisely day after day, when you avoid unnecessary expenses even when it's tempting, you are building something powerful. You are building financial strength, step by step, in a way that feels simple but creates lasting impact. Many people fail in their financial journey because they expect quick results. They try to save a large amount all at once, or they try to change everything in their life overnight. When they cannot maintain that level of effort, they become discouraged and give up completely. But true success does not come from perfection. It comes from repetition. It comes from showing up every day, making small improvements, and staying committed even when it feels slow. The truth is, small actions done consistently are far more powerful than big actions done only once. Saving a little money each time you earn, making careful spending decisions, and avoiding unnecessary expenses may not feel significant in the moment. But over time, these habits create a strong financial foundation. Like building a wall brick by brick, each small action adds up. At first, you may not see much difference. But as time passes, the results become clear. Your savings grow, your discipline strengthens, your financial confidence increases, and slowly, your life begins to change in ways you did not expect. Now, let's pause for a moment and reflect on something important. Financial stability is not just about money sitting in your account. It is about peace of mind. It is about waking up in the morning without fear of financial problems. It is about making decisions without stress, without panic, and without pressure. When you are financially stable, you can think clearly. You can plan your life with confidence. You are not constantly worried about bills, debts, or unexpected expenses. Instead, you feel calm, grounded, and in control of your life. Minimalist money rules are not meant to restrict you or limit your life. They are meant to free you. They remove unnecessary noise, the noise of constant spending, comparison, and pressure. They simplify your life by helping you focus on what truly matters. And when your life becomes simpler, your mind becomes clearer. You begin to see your finances with understanding instead of confusion. You gain clarity, and with clarity comes confidence. When you follow these rules consistently, something powerful begins to happen. You stop chasing money in a desperate or stressful way. Instead, money starts staying with you. You no longer feel like you are constantly trying to catch up. You begin to feel aligned with your financial life. You are no longer reacting to money. You are managing it, guiding it, and controlling it. Of course, there will be difficult days. There will be moments when you feel tempted to spend more than you should. There will be times when you want to live bigger, show more, or buy something just to feel better in the moment. That is natural. Everyone feels this way at times. But what matters is how you respond. Real strength is not loud. It is quiet. Real success is not always visible to others. It happens in the background, in the small decisions you make every day. And real financial stability is built in silence, through discipline and consistency. You don't need to prove anything to the world. You don't need to show your success through expensive things or a flashy lifestyle. What truly matters is how you feel inside. A person who feels secure, calm, and in control of their finances is far more successful than someone who appears wealthy but lives with constant stress and uncertainty. Your goal is not to impress others. Your goal is to build a life where you feel stable, where your decisions are yours, and where your money supports your life instead of controlling it. One day, if you stay consistent with these habits, you will notice a powerful transformation. It may not happen suddenly, but it will happen. You will wake up and realize that you no longer feel anxious about money. You will not worry about small expenses. You will not feel trapped by financial pressure. Instead, you will feel something different: freedom. And this freedom is not created by earning more and more money. It is created by learning how to live wisely, how to manage what you have, and how to stay consistent with your habits. So start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Just begin. Start small. Start simple. Start with one rule, one habit, one change. That is enough to begin your journey. Because the goal is not to become rich overnight. The goal is to build a life where you always have enough, where you feel stable, and where your money supports your growth instead of creating stress. And finally, remember this important truth. There are two types of people in this world: those who spend money to feel rich, and those who build habits to become stable. One path leads to constant pressure, stress, and struggle. The other leads to peace, freedom, and quiet confidence. The choice is yours. And when you follow these minimalist money rules with patience and consistency, something remarkable happens. You won't just have money. You will always have enough. And that enough is where true financial peace begins.